afternoon. Let's move on to another segment of the program. So far, I hope you're enjoying it. So we know that IILB has been already doing a lot of commendable work in the community so far, and it continues to look for more opportunities and how they can serve the community even better. So they are introducing this new opportunity for our kids, the youth of today. We all know how hard our kids work, how they are, they stretch their limits, in the field of their interest, they want to go beyond, above and beyond, and make a difference in the society. So to begin this, so to encourage this, actually, I would say, IILB is introducing 2 awards that they want to give every year to 2 such kids who have gone above and beyond in, in their achievements and in somehow helping the community. So to begin this initiative, we have 2 phenomenal kids this year. I'm gonna call them out. If you can please stand. We have Riya Malhotra and Neil Deshmukh. So that's a big round of applause for them. And let me introduce them a little, give a brief introduction for each of them. And then we'll have them on stage, and then you can grill them. But yeah, so Riya Malhotra is a senior at Moravian Academy. She's interested in biology and engineering. She has done research at Lehigh University for 5 years. Due to this passion for science, she won the Grand Award at Intel International Science and Engineering Fair in 2018. Later, she went on to present her research at the European Union Contest for Young Scientists in Dublin. In Dublin, Ireland. So, as well as numerous conferences in Luxembourg and Switzerland. She has given a TED Talk. She was named a World Science Scholar in 2019. And also, it doesn't end there. She also started a segment for WDIY and NPR Radio called The Teen Scientist. Besides her achievements in science, Riya also loves quiz bowl, debate, and participates in ceramics at school. So that's our Riya Malhotra. A big round of applause for her. Next, the second award goes to Neil Deshmukh this year. And it's great to see these youth doing such great things, how they manage. We know. We'll probably hear from them. So a little about Neil, or a little bit, that's how much about Neil we have. So Neil is the founder of Plantum AI LLC, an AI app platform that combines novel algorithms and human expertise to provide farmers with comprehensive analysis and predictions for crop disease. He is also a co-founder and CTO of Vocal Eyes AI Inc., developed in collaboration with the Perkins School of the Blind. Vocal Eyes allows people with low vision to use their phones to navigate their environment, identify objects, read text, and more. For these endeavors, he has been honored as a global team leader and Time Magazine Young Innovator, and awarded the Gloria Barron Prize for Young Heroes and Strobel Leadership Award, while receiving various grants for these non-profit ventures. That's a lot of work. Over the last few years, working on many projects, he explored the intersection of computer science and healthcare through bioinformatics, publishing 4 first-author research papers in peer-reviewed journals. His projects have obtained grand awards at the Intel International Science and Engineering Fair, both in 2017 and 2019, along with the first place grand award at the International BioGenius Biotechnology Challenge. Recently, he has been selected as a Regeneron Science Talent Research top 300 scholars for his research as well. And then outside of school, he enjoys mentoring and teaching others about technology, machine learning. For the last 2 years, he has taught machine learning at many events, and he was selected as a World Science Scholar. He has also given a TED Talk, talked about the benefits and limitations of AI. In his free time, he loves playing soccer, riding on his bike, competing in Overwatch. I think the youth know what Overwatch is. And participating with his quiz bowl and robotics team alongside his classmates. So big round of applause for Neil as well. Congratulations to both of you. So what happened was that after all this, people wanted to ask a few questions. So on behalf of everybody, I'm going to just ask a few questions to you guys. So you've done so much, that's a lot. Some of us don't understand what you've done. But could you tell us one thing which you're really proud of? So anything that you want to talk about other than this or from these achievements that I just read out? Neil, Priya, anybody, you can start.
I can go first.
Yeah.
So throughout high school, the main thing that I've been interested in is my research at Lehigh. So my main project was working with laser technology to develop a drug development platform to make making medications cheaper and faster.
That's great. Neil?
Yeah, so one thing I'm really proud of is not just developing technology, but seeing its actual usage and implementation. So the thing I'm most proud of is actually seeing the response from, in this case, farmers and low vision individuals when I actually showed them my product and got to see them use it for the first time. It was really exciting to see the response.
So when you're doing all of this work, I'm sure there are some obstructions you come across and some roadblocks. Would you like to mention one roadblock and how you overcame it? I think it's going to help the youngsters sitting here to understand how you approach a certain problem if you come across one. Neil?
Yeah, sure. So almost any venture or endeavor is incomplete without a roadblock. And specifically, one of the biggest ones for me that almost ended one of my ventures was for Plantum AI. So it's essentially an app platform, as Shanti said, that helps farmers detect crop diseases on their crops and protect their yields from any intrusions. And one problem was that originally I went about it from kind of a technological point of view, in which case I didn't really. I saw the problem as a pathological problem, in which case it was just a disease. I didn't see it as a community problem. So the thing is that in this case, I thought if I just developed the app or developed the technology for it and then implemented it, it would immediately work. And that's not true. When you have any type of change you want to make, any type of solution you want to implement, you have to make sure that the people that are using it in the end are actually the ones that that are able to actually have a two-way communication and have a human aspect to that. So I actually went from just using raw technology as my solution to also developing it so that it would, interconnect with humans and local agricultural universities, so that it wouldn't just be technological, but it'd be the human aspect that a lot of ventures need to succeed. So that was one big problem that I had to learn how to overcome.
That's great. So nothing stops them. So that's great that you figure out, you find a solution, and that's where your dedication comes in the picture, I guess. So yes, Riya.
Yeah, so I think Neil works a lot more with computers and machine learning, but my work is more biology in the lab. So I think inherently with research it's mostly trial and error. So it's learning from your mistakes and what doesn't work, and then moving towards a solution that does. So with my project, I was testing a lot of different drug molecules on fly hearts, and it took me, I think, 17 different trials before I figured out the exact category of drugs that I could use. So I think it was learning from your mistakes and moving in a direction towards a viable solution.
And I also remember, Riya, that from your TED Talk, that you didn't easily get at the age of 14 when you tried to get into some research lab and stuff. It was tough for you you didn't get the opportunity easily.
Yeah, definitely. I think any scientist would be skeptical of an 11-year-old wanting to work in their lab. And it's actually kind of funny, it's down the hall in this building, but this was my first lab that I worked at, and I started working with stem cells, and after that I moved into working with 5 other labs. So it was definitely a growth curve, but my first lab definitely was skeptical to let an 11-year-old work there.
All right, so that's great. And so on a lighter note, I see that both my kids, I have high school, one of them is in college now, stay up very late in the night. So like you guys stay up beyond, like I don't even know what time, sometimes, you know, Siddhant is sleeping or Ariman sleeps at 3 maybe or something. So do you want to tell me one of those days when you slept latest and what were you doing? What made you stay up that late or something like that? Or is it through the night you stayed up and things?
I think in high school everyone's pulled all-nighters at some point.
It's a common occurrence.
I think everyone.
Because I remember back when we were studying,
Yeah, as my mom said, she's given up. I think in the beginning it's kind of like stunning that kids start sleeping at like 2 a.m., but in high school I think it's just necessary sometimes.
we never thought it was necessary. I think we slept at 10 or so every night.
Or if you have good time management, it's not necessary, but I don't think.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. So I didn't get my answer really. But anyway, so and how I know it's parents run around with you, and we are all parents who want to help out. So what were the role of your parents in all your all these endeavors?
So definitely support. So one big thing is that, as you said, there are roadblocks, and as Ria said, there's so much trial and error required for anything that you do. And the thing is that there are always times when it feels like it'd just be easier to give up, right? But your parents and my parents were always there to help me whenever when anything went wrong or when any issues popped up. At what point I felt like giving up, they would always be there to support me, encourage me, show me resources in order to get me back on track, and overall just be there for me and everything.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Neil. My mom has also been my #1 Uber driver until I could drive. And just like a lot of small things along the way, like reading over anything I have to submit. So I think parents are always there for us. And honestly, anyone in the Indian community has always been there for both of us.
So you guys are high achievers. You have siblings also. How do you deal with them? That got them smiles on their faces. So tell me something about, or tell them something about how you manage with them, how they learn from you, or what is it that's interesting? Anything?
So one thing interesting to me is that it's interesting to see someone growing up and going on a different path than what I did. Because again, siblings they're like us, but they're also completely different in a sense. So all the things that I used to like to do, Adi, my little brother, may not like, or he likes things that I didn't like, right? And it's interesting to see that dynamic and also be supportive for everything that he does, and also see how help him through whatever struggles I faced and areas where I had difficulty in kind of like middle school, elementary school, all that, and helping him through that process when I didn't have anyone there for me.
Yeah, I think, like you said, what our siblings have learned from us, I think more so it's that what we've learned from our siblings, because my sister Raina's in 8th grade, but I think just like dealing with her has taught me a lot of leadership skills and management when people don't necessarily listen to you. So honestly, like throughout my life, she's been a life lesson, almost mentoring her and learning what works and doesn't with people management.
That's great. So you guys are true leaders, I would say. If you're, that's a good balance you're trying to have between the siblings. Would you have, so all these youngsters here would certainly like some advice. Would you have something to tell them?
Yeah, sure. So one thing that I see a lot of people kind of push towards or push themselves towards is doing a ton of different activities and trying to be the best at every single one. And unfortunately, I think that is kind of it's a mentality that's inherently unstable, because it's really stressful, and it's almost inevitable that they're going to burn themselves out. So the thing is that what I would suggest is finding a few things which you're really, really passionate about, which you really, really like. And especially if there's a support group like friends to help you in that activity, that's also a very powerful motivator. And then essentially just do the things that you like, and be sure to choose your time wisely with what you really want to do.
Yeah, I agree. And I'd also say that because we're both seniors, high school's gone by really fast. So if you're like in 8th grade going into high school, I would say make the most of it. And especially in 9th and 10th grade, I didn't really take the time to like socialize with friends or relax. But if you just take a breather once in a while, that's totally fine. So I think you should make the most of high school and take time to just experience it with your friends.
That's great advice. Thanks a lot. There's so much more we can just go on and learn from them. But at this point, I think we have to move on to the next segment. So at this point, I think I'll call Cindy Sukram to come and give up the awards to Neil and Ria. So congratulations once again, and all the best.